Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates. It's me, Stormy Grace, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of January 1st, where we are coming into the new year together. So absolutely welcome, welcome, welcome. And to make sure that you are ready to travel and increase your astrological fluency for the year, please click in my description box down below. Get your digital transit calendar from our friends at Wise Skies Collective. It really helps you learn these aspects. This is the thing, the transits repeat pretty much every year, most of the basic ones. So if you can see it every month, or you can see where it's happening every year and understand a little bit of the breakdown and how we use that in conversation, this will increase your astrological fluency and thus how you can use it to be of service in your own life. So click down there, grab that transit calendar so that your toolkit is nice and stocked. As well, for the entire month of January, I've put my Astrology 101 and 102 classes on sale. Click in the description box down below. Grab them, go through that course, sit down your own pace, me and you just there learning astrology from the basics all the way up. And also keep in mind that right here on this channel, we've got the YouTube Academy where you can start at the beginning of Western astrology history with Chris Brennan and walk all the way through from the basics on up to relationship astrology with Miss Nadia Shah. So click into that playlist as well if you're looking to learn and you're not quite ready to invest just yet, or you want to go a little bit deeper. There are lots of ways to learn here. And if you're really ready to pull in a little bit closer, click in the description box down below or come and visit me at stormygrace.com and take advantage of my astrological readings and also my astrological consultations in package form so that we can really spend a lot of time together getting into the changes you would like to make. All right, it's all in the description box down below. All right, beautiful friends, this week, as we are coming into the week, we're coming in with a little bit of fury kind of energy. Mercury is coming direct right here on the 1st in the vibration of Sagittarius, which this gives us a clue right away this week that decisions that we need to be making, they're going to be done like fire. We've got to make decisions to get us from one thing to the next because Sagittarius is a mutable energy, which takes us from one season to the next. So we know there are some decisions to be made, and you've likely been re-looking at them, reviewing them. You've been in the space of them already because we actually saw Mercury move into its pre-retrograde shadow time on November 25th. And this happened here at this 22 degrees of Sagittarius, okay? Now, we saw Mercury go direct on December 13th at 8 degrees of Capricorn. So first and foremost, if you weren't tracking that just yet, grab your chart and look at where is 8 degrees of Capricorn to 22 degrees of Sagittarius located in your chart. What houses are these? Because this is going to give you a better idea of what was actually the focus of your story. And if you're ready to move on to adding in the aspects and things like that after that, that's fine. But if you're just even starting with looking at what house this happened in for you, that is going to do you a lot of service in increasing your astrological fluency, okay? And if you're not sure how to do that just yet, I've also got a video in the description box down below to show you how to find the active transit in your chart. Now, we're seeing Mercury come direct here right on the 1st, bringing us into the new year at this 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So that is that mutable energy, mutable fire. I've got to make a decision to get from here to there. I've got to make a decision to get from this season to this season. Now, one thing I do want to say is that, first of all, any time a planet is stationing, you just want to be mindful and give it a little bit more time. You don't need to make the biggest life decisions here today, no matter how fast and furious you're feeling, right? I would just give it a couple days, let Mercury have its little cosmic latte, wake up, and then move on with its life. And then you can start asking for all the requests. But the other reason I would ask you to just pay a little bit more attention is because we're not actually seeing Mercury fully moving forward until we get to January 20th. We need Mercury to get back to that 8 degrees of Capricorn, and then it moves forward, and then you're in the clear for all new decisions. Instead, right now, what you're reviewing are likely things that have come up for you from November 25th all the way until now. So go back. What has been happening for you? What have you kind of been on the fence on? Now, whatever it is too, I think that Monday is a day for consideration because we're also going to see Venus come into a square with Saturn. Now, Venus, our planet of love and pleasure and beauty, and just I want it to be easy and lovely, like joy. Yes, Okay, it's squaring against Saturn, our planet of responsibility, obligation, maturity, reservation, limits. Okay, as these two are squaring against each other, one of the first things that can happen in the experience is that you feel like, whoa, the energy can kind of feel like it drops down. It gets very serious. You're like, whoa, I have to focus in on this. I have to think about this. I have to do something here, and this may require hard work. Now, Venus being the planet in square with Saturn, it could be about romance or about finance. It could be about partnership. It could be about money. Okay, so if there's something going on with your money and you're like, whoa, I have to get really serious about this. It's also the beginning of the calendar year. Are you getting ready for taxes? And you're like, I got to get all this paperwork together. I own a couple businesses. I know about that life. So whatever it is, or if there's something going on in a relationship and it has also been on your mind, you've seen it, and you have to make some decisions. Remember, Mercury is direct in Sagittarius, so you have to make a decision about what will get you here to here. You've got to make decisions to transition out. So Monday will be the day that you will see that. But I do want to point out that Venus and Saturn energy, it can feel heavy. Okay, the moon is traveling through the vibration of Virgo, which does want to get organized. It wants to be put together. And while it wants to be of service, more than anything, it also just wants to do things right and have things be neat and tidy. So this could be an energy where truly on Monday, you're just making decisions to get it together as we start out the year. Now, as we're traveling on Tuesday, we're going to see the moon go void, of course, later in the day, which is your cue to rest, to relax, to put it down for a minute. It's not the time to start anything new. It's the time to let the energy settle for a minute. Okay, so if you can finish up projects that are already on your table, if you can allow yourself to rest, just sit down, do a breath, do a meditation. It's great to do mindfulness exercises when the moon is void, of course, to just reconnect for a second. What it's really not great for is trying to hustle projects forward that are new, because the energy is pretty stale. It's not in connection with a lot, okay? Just after that, the moon will enter into the vibration of Libra. Now, this is also good for decision making because Libra wants balance, wants to make sure all perspectives have been heard. So at an emotional level, you and the people around you may be a little bit more concerned with partnership and equality. So this is a great time to look at the relationships that you are in, how you are in relationship to them, and what decisions need to be made to make sure that there is balance. Now, again, grab your chart. Where is Libra in your particular chart? For me, Libra lives in the second house. So it's going to be a time where for the next couple days, I'm going to be looking at partnerships of value to me, partnerships with my money, partnerships with my self-esteem, my self-worth, and where am I at in balance? So make sure you check out what house it's in for you as well, okay? All right, Wednesday brings us to a last quarter moon. Now, we just had a full moon happening last week at that 4 degrees of Cancer, and now we are at this last quarter moon that's going to be happening at 13 degrees of Libra. So at the last quarter moon, what we're doing is we're having a turning away from. Okay, we're turning away from what has been happening for the last 28 days. We're turning away from. It's like, okay, I see it. There are some things that I can let go of. I have a different perspective. I have a different experience on them, and I'm ready to turn away from and engage life differently. Now, the other thing to think about is when you're looking at 13 degrees of Libra in your personal chart, you want to go back to October 6th of 2021. What was happening? There was a new moon happening at 13 degrees of Libra. So likely you set an intention. You said, I'd like to begin something. There was a newness about that time, or what was happening in your life, because this last quarter moon is also the turning away from or the re-engagement with that energy really very differently. So travel back, go back through your notebooks, go back through your journals if you've been keeping them, or maybe there was something on your calendar where you're like, this is what was happening for me around about that time, give or take about 2 weeks after the 6th as well. But go back back to that particular moon, okay? So we'll experience that last quarter moon time, getting us ready for a balsamic. Now, on Thursday, we've got Mars entering into the vibration of Capricorn. And I love Mars in this position because, first of all, it's exalted. And when a planet is exalted, it's like, yeah, this isn't my house, but I love coming to your house. You've got like the best amenities. I can really function well here, even though it's not my house, you know? And you can also check out the video in the YouTube Academy playlist about dignity and debility done by Melissa. She did a fantastic class on that. But Mars in Capricorn here is fantastic because he gets to do something. This is what I call like Mars in the hustler's position, okay? Because Mars is effective here. Mars wants to know, are we doing it or we're not doing it? That's really what Mars wants to know. And Capricorn's like, oh yeah, we're doing it. We're building something. We're climbing. We're moving in another direction. There's this very enduring earth energy, but Capricorn is also a cardinal energy. So you're starting something. Yes, I'm here to begin the adventure. I'm here to begin the project, to begin the journey. I'm here to build something that is a legacy for my future, right? But you're in the action of it. The other way that I think all the way until February 13th, we can see Mars working here is it is stirring a desire within you for legacy. I want to build something long-term. I want to have something long-term. These may be themes. This is my business. This is my empire. This is my, thing that I will have legacy around. So whatever that story is for you, you can watch all the way until February 13th as Mars travels through this Capricorn vibration, remembering it's also going to go over those first 8 degrees where Mercury has already retrograded. So you've already had an idea. Go back to December 13th. What was going on when Mercury was here? What were you talking about? What were you having ideas about? Or maybe you're like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Let me think about it. And now you've had time to stop thinking about it. And Mars is like, let's be about it. And the actions you take are persistent, enduring, strong, and focused. And I absolutely love that energy. So let me know in the comment section down below what house that's happening in for you. For me, that is going to be the 5th house of children, joy, pleasure, play. I like all that. Plus, I have a new program coming for you guys, so I'm very excited to have the energy to continue to work on it. On Friday, the moon will go void, of course, for a little bit before it enters into the vibration of Scorpio. Now we're in a bit of a different terrain, and your fellow man is also in a different terrain, because this is the thing with the transiting energies. While they work on our individual charts and they hit different things in them, points, angles, and things like that, the transiting planet itself, no one is exempt from. So whether your family members study astrology or they don't, they even know what's happening as those planets make a vibration and something's happening for them. We're just smaller versions of that vibration. So it's going to hit us as well. So when moon enters into Scorpio, the collective energy of the people around you moves from this like Jam Venus, everything be fair, let's work on partnership kind of energy to something that can be a little bit more pulled in. It's a little bit more secretive. It wants depth. It doesn't want this superficial conversation. It's not like, yeah, let's just partner up. It's like, okay, we're partnered up. Now we need to go deeper. So you can find yourself with the people around you having conversations that are deeper, more intimate. Sometimes they are darker per se, or heavier. You can find concepts of death or detox or sex coming more to the surface, and you're having those conversations, and depending on your temperament, your willingness to engage that will kind of just show you how you're going to navigate this. But what I think is fair to say for everybody is that when the moon gets into Scorpio, be clear about why you're doing what you're doing. So we've had these conversations and needed to make these decisions to get from here to here so that we can take action, Mars and Capricorn, to build our next strategy where we're going to go there. Now we need to know why. And I think the why is so incredibly important. You got to know your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? What is your motive? Not your intention, right? Not your intention. What is the motive behind what you're doing? Because your why, you're going to come back to that 100 different times as you're making the decisions and building what you're building over the next year. So you've got to know your motive. Are you doing it because you're afraid and you're trying to get something? Are you building something new with your life because you want abundance and you want to be able to share that abundance? Whatever the answer is, it doesn't really matter. The point is to know your why. And I do think that sometimes when the vibration of Scorpio pops up, we realize, oh, I was going for something or I was doing something. And subconsciously, I was driven by a need, a fear, a desire. I didn't do something because I was afraid of criticism. And you start to see it for something else. And when you know your why, that you are or are not doing something, you can change your path of abundance to the greatest good. It's really very cool. Now, on Saturday, we're going to see the sun come into a square with Chiron, who has recently come out of retrograde. So Chiron is like, yes, new identity, ready to rock and roll. You're not seeing yourself, your life, your world through the lens of the wound of your identity so much. It's like, yeah, no, that's who I was. I forgive myself and I'm ready to move forward. Or yeah, I've never actually been able to envision myself being this next version of myself or this version of myself, but I'm actually pretty good. Now, the sun is bringing light, heat, life, and motivation. So the sun is motivated, okay? It wants to do something. It wants to build. It wants to go for it. It wants legacy. But that is squaring against this Chiron energy. So one of the things I would tell you first and foremost is that don't take yourself so seriously. I say this to you guys like a couple times a year, but I think that this aspect is really true. Because while you're motivated to have, be, do, build, you may still be lacking a little bit of skill. You have more courage, you have more confidence, more bravery to move something forward, but you may still be lacking in skill, or you may be missing a piece and you just need to get it. So don't take yourself so seriously. Laugh a little bit if you can, so that you can remember that you're learning to build. Capricorn season is a cardinal season. You're at the beginning of something, so you're not at the end. Oh, I heard this great quote, and they said you can always tell a beginner because they want to be at the end at the beginning. So we're going to just be in whatever position we actually are. If you're a beginner, me too. It's Capricorn season, okay? Now, the other thing I would just say here to be mindful of, because it is Chiron, if you're not feeling as strong in your new identity, if you're still feeling like and just tell the truth about it, right? If you're still feeling like, no, this is a problem because of something else, if you're not able to pull in that full responsibility and accountability just yet in order to see something from a different perspective, this is a great energy to first of all embrace the truth of exactly where you are, but also to look at where do you need to practice some forgiveness of self here, right? The motivation is running and squaring against an old identity because maybe you haven't cleaned things up with you just yet, right? Maybe you haven't forgiven you just yet, or maybe you haven't given yourself the opportunity, Aries energy, to show you what you're made of. And that's okay. Just whatever it is, let's have an honest acknowledgement so you can move forward. The truth sets you free. First, it pisses you off, right? Me too. All right. So right here on Sunday, when we get here, we've got the moon going void, of course, again, before it moves into the vibration of Sagittarius. So on Sunday, we get about midday and the energy gets a bit lighter. It's like, okay, that was a really deep 2 days of my motives, my subconscious. Do I forgive myself? My life's not anyone else's fault. These kinds of things. And we can only do so much of that, like every month and every season. So we get here on Sunday, the moon moves into Sagittarius. Collectively, we have a lift of energy. It's a little bit more about going on the adventure. It's enthusiastic. There's new truths. By the time the moon is in Sagittarius every month, you know something differently because it's been revealed. from the unsubconscious of the Scorpio wind when we did that moon. And then you know something differently, Sagittarius. And so you have a new truth to work with. And the new truth allows you to go on the new adventure. So keep that in mind every month as well. When we get to Sagittarius, what's the new truth that's getting you in position for your next adventure that you go on? Because now you've got a different perspective. Now you've got different answers. Now, other things I really like when the moon is in Sagittarius is go feed your adventurer. And I really mean that. Go eat at a cool restaurant. Pick up something, go watch a Pinterest and make a recipe you've never had. Take yourself on the adventure of something foreign, something different. Study Italian on Duolingo, whatever it is, allow yourself the pleasure of going on this different adventure that just expands you out into the world a little bit differently than you've ever seen it before. All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, I hope you have a great first week. I look forward to it. We have got some weeks to travel together. This year is a leap year, so we're going to get a little bit of extra of that as well. And I'm going to be right here with you for all of it. All right, my beautiful friends, click in the description box down below, like this video, and I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.